Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to What's Up, Bolts. I apologize. I'm Fernando Ramirez. I apologize for my voice. I am currently dealing with a little bit of a cold. That cowboy right there throwing up the X is Dan and Daygo. He has not gotten sick, thank God.
Made of steel, baby.
He's been lucky with it. He's kind of stayed away from me for the last couple of days. But Dan, just real quick, Chargers win 25-24 over the Cardinals to improve to 6-5. Initial thoughts. What is your reaction to the win for the Chargers?
Initial thoughts, very ugly. I thought it was very sloppy at times. You know, you saw some undisciplined things, like some blocks in the backs that didn't need to happen. Everybody forgets, right? Like, it's not trying to screen them and put your hands up like in the NBA, right? If you try and steal that from basketball and just screen them, it's not a pick. Or sorry, it's not a block in the back. But I mean, other than that, you know, I guess it's at least good to see that finally one of these times where it's sloppy and gross or whatever, they pull it out, I guess. It was very much needed win, as the commentators and you and everybody else knows. They were on a 2-game lose streak. And those type of lose streaks, you know, it'll plummet your whole team fast. And especially because looking ahead, the schedule doesn't get any easier.
No, definitely does not, especially looking at what's ahead. I mean, right now, currently, the Raiders and Seattle are in overtime in Seattle. So that game will be interesting. That's who the Chargers play next week. They play the Raiders in Las Vegas. Obviously, they've had an up and down season. The Raiders had, but they're still a dangerous team. So, but going back to this game, it seemed like the Chargers got hit with the same thing that they've been doing for the past few weeks. But this was more of a combination of what's happened the whole season. At the beginning, they start off, they're losing 10-0. That's what happened during their their win streak, is that they would start off the games late and then they'd come back and they end up winning the game. Well, in this game, they start off 10-0. They end up coming back, and at one point, they in the second half, they just weren't scoring. They only scored 3 points until that last drive where they were able to put up where they were able to score that touchdown and hit the and get the 2-point conversion. Let's go with that first. I mean, Brandon Staley hadn't really done a whole lot last year. Brandon Staley was known obviously for going for it on fourth down.
I haven't done it that much this year.
They haven't really done all that much of it this year. Like you said, they haven't really shown that moxie to go for it this year the way that they had in the past, which was very rare because last year, that's why they won some games. That's why they lost some games. But Brandon said last year, we did it. We finished the season with our style. Hold on real quick. Let's go to Brandon Staley now. He's about to hit the podium. Let's see what he has to say after the Chargers 25-24 victory.
It's a football team. I believe in our quarterback. I believed in the play call. We executed it well the entire week. I felt like it would have good answers against the defenses they might play, and we wanted to finish the game on our terms.
What does it say about Justin, your offense as a whole, to execute that drive there at the end of the game?
The way Justin played today is what makes him so special. Lost a bunch of players throughout the game. He never flinches. There was a lot of pressure in that second half, and he always keeps his poise. He never loses his belief. I thought he made a lot of winning plays on that 2-minute drive. Just a lot of big plays. I thought he played well the entire game, used his legs in this game, which was huge. And then when you really needed him in the clutch, he delivered. And what I told the team is the 2 weeks prior in 2-minute, it didn't go down for him. And that's what it's like when you're a quarterback in the NFL. You're not going to make every 2-minute drive. But the thing that he has going for him is that our entire organization believes that he's going to make it. And so he brought us back, game ball for him, big time performance. We wouldn't have won without him.
About the defense, I think that was just a 31-second drive for the Cardinals, when you really needed the ball back. Like, what does that do for y'all?
Yeah, well, their last, 4 drives were empty drives for them. We got 3 3-and-outs and then the game finisher there at the end. And I thought our defense was very similar to Justin. I felt like we kept our poise. I felt like we made a lot of winning plays down the stretch. I thought we had a lot of big-time performances by guys stepping up in new roles. And, again, it was just a team win, a gutsy win. I thought Derwin James was fantastic in the game.
Dog.
Our heart and soul on defense, Mike Davis, who's on the ground on Friday. And, is he going to play? Is he not going to play? And I thought he was fantastic today. And it was just a gutsy win by our team and showed a lot of heart in the fourth quarter.
At what point did you know you were going for two?
Early in the drive when we made a couple first downs and the clock was winding, we kind of said, hey, under 40 seconds, that's going to be our mindset.
I know that was going to be the play call.
I did. Yeah, all the way.
Guys to make the playoffs are essentially a must-win situation every week. Did you stop and think at all if that hadn't been converted? What happened here?
No, Lindsay, we're just living week to week. It was about this game for us and pouring into this game and doing what we felt like was going to win us the football game. And that's what I felt like was going to win us the football game. And that's what we're doing here is we're taking it week by week, pouring into each week like it has a life of its own. And our guys did that this week, and, we were able to finish it.
So, Dan, what do you think about what Brandon had to say there about obviously Justin did play well. Let's just focus on him. He said, I knew right away during that drive, early in the drive, that we were going to go for two. Obviously, you needed to win that game. You didn't want to go into overtime. You didn't want to keep on fighting with them. But just, I think it takes real guts for him to finally come back and say, you know what, let's do this. Let's go do Josh Jacobs just broke free for an 86-yard touchdown game-winning. Okay, so the Raiders just beat the Seattle Seahawks in Seattle. Josh Jacobs had 303 yards of total offense today.
Good God. His fans are going to be happy.
Yeah, exactly. So let's just talk real quick about that. Let's talk about Brandon Staley and going for it at the end of the game. What did you think about that?
I think that was the correct call. The thing that always happens, especially with the offense, with the the overtime rules, it always favors the man or the team who's going to receive to begin with. And it's like luckily the defense, it's been the kind of MO all season, right? Where it's like they'll give up a lot of yards, they'll give up touchdowns and some points and stuff like that. But when it comes crunch time, for the most part, I think there's only been 2 games where it didn't happen. For the most time in crunch time, they will get a stop and get the ball back to the offense. And the offense is the one who's been sputtering, I think, a little too much this season. But, everyone knew it was a must-win game. You lose 2 in a row to a team you should have beat. But in 2 of the games that you were in, right? In my mind, there's no reason why they should have lost both of those games. I mean, it is what it is. Almost only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. But, you needed this statement, not a statement win, because, it was Arizona's not that impressive.
No, but you needed it. You needed to win.
I was just trying to look for a different adjective.
No, this was a must-win.
You needed this win, and especially in this fashion, because it should get the players hyped up. Didn't have to go to overtime. They executed when they needed to. And, that could hopefully, lift up morale in the locker room when it could have been a little bit down on a 2-game lose streak. They already know, or they probably know that Kansas City was winning today. And it's like they're 9-2 now. So it's like that distance is only growing. So you're going to have to fight the wild card spot. We saw that graphic today. They're behind the Patriots, which the Patriots are 6-5 also, I think. So, it's heating up. November's playoff football. So
let's take a look at that. Like you just mentioned, let's take a look at that graphic right now. And as things stand, the Chiefs are obviously at the top, 9-2. The Dolphins are 8-3. Tennessee Titans are 7-4. This is the crazy part. The Dolphins and the Tennessee Titans come back-to-back weeks after they play the Raiders. So that's going to be a difficult. So that's going to be a difficult matchup right there. And then Baltimore 7-4. The Buffalo Bills surprisingly 8-3, and they're in the wild card. Here's where it gets tricky for the Chargers. There's only 2 spots after Buffalo, and it's Cincinnati and it's New York. New York keeps on winning. It's incredible.
Yep.
Cincinnati, I don't think will give up that spot. Jamar Chase gets back next week. They play the Chiefs, so I think that'll be an interesting matchup. So basically, the way you see this is kind of a 3-horse race for that 7th wild card.
Yeah.
And it's going to be between the Chargers, the Jets, and the Patriots. Maybe the Colts could sneak in there, but it depends on what they do on Monday Night Football.
Yeah, highly doubt it.
But really, the Jets are a game ahead of the Chargers. What happens here is they're going to go based off of conference. So the Jets are 5-4 in the conference. The Patriots are 5-2, and the Chargers are 4-3. So obviously the Chargers need to win one more, and they need the Patriots to lose. The Patriots are about to play a couple of
Hard teams.
they're going to play a couple of AFC teams that are they still play
They
the
still have to
Dolphins.
play Buffalo again, right?
Yeah, they still play Buffalo. They still play a couple of other teams.
Maybe
So
the Dolphins
that's
again.
kind of a look at the playoff spot. Obviously, like Brandon said, they're going to take it 1 week at a time. They're not really looking at oh, hey, here now this that no. So but again, the Chargers do end up winning the game. Interesting. Obviously, again, the Chargers did give up a lot of rushing yards. 34 carries for the Cardinals, 181 yards rushing, 181 yards. That's a 5.3 average, and
That's too much.
one
right there.
touchdown.
That's
And
a
like
first down every other play.
And like I said right now, Josh Jacobs had 39 touches for 303 yards and 2 touchdowns. Like the Chargers are really going to need to be disciplined next week, but we'll get to next week. The Chargers really kind of did hold Kyler Murray in check, I thought, for the most part. 18 of 29, 191, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. They only sacked him once, and that was the Michael Davis sack towards the end of the game. For all the weapons that the Cardinals had, I mean, the other one that really went a little bit crazy was DeAndre Hopkins on that 33-yard touchdown. But other than that, I thought the Chargers did a good job against the weapons. DeAndre Hopkins, Marquise Brown, Robbie Anderson. Robbie Anderson, 1 catch, 17 yards. Marquise Brown, 6 catches, 46 yards. For the most part, I thought the secondary didn't do a bad job today, Dan. I don't know what you thought.
Well, it's not that hard to keep Kyler Murray in check when Warzone dropped this month or whatever new feature on Call of Duty happened. But in all jokes aside, yeah, they did keep him, I guess, in check. But I mean, in my mind, still, I'm saying this team is not to the level of competition that you're going to need to be at to not only make it to the playoffs, but actually get a playoff win. So for it to come this close, especially having some sloppy plays, didn't like some of the calls offensively on some of those drives. And, this is the thing that drives me crazy because it's like, Herbert passes 47 times and you rush a total of 13 times. That's losing football in my mind, despite the fact that they won today. Like, I understand they won, but against a team of any caliber, that's a loss right away because you can't. The thing that people need to understand, right? As a defensive coordinator, as a defensive lineman, as a blitzing linebacker, you want when you're dropping 47 times, right away it's going to be pass, 3 downs, pass. You can key your pass rush move a lot better. Okay, is this key telling me it's run or pass? There's no guessing anymore for this front line, and that's why you see so much pressure sometimes, and you see people getting home on blitzes and everything else because they know they don't have to worry about the run at all. And I think that's a big problem that this team has, and the fact that Joe Lombardi as offensive coordinator and Brandon Staley as head coach, it starts with both of them coming together and being like, okay, we need to fix this run game, and you have to commit to it to keep them on edge. Like, you can't have these games where he's throwing 50 times and you rush 13 times or 12 times or 10 times, like completely abandoning the run game. And I think that's going to hurt them in the long run.
Well, today they kind of needed to abandon it at one point because, when they were trying to come back.
But they never got started to begin with, Kyle.
Well, yeah, 13 carries for 65 yards. They averaged 5 yards a carry, but that was just because Justin Herbert had that long 23-yard rush. Other than that, they really didn't do anything. In the passing game, obviously, Austin Eckler had 11 catches for 60 yards. DeAndre Carter, 7 for 73 and a touchdown.
Yeah, he was awake. He was amped up today.
Keenan Allen, 5 for 49. Joshua Palmer, 5 for 56. Gerald Everett, 4 for 18, and the game-winning 2-point conversion for him. So, I mean, I get it. I mean, there's a lot of negatives to see today. One positive, in my opinion, was Derwin James. Holy smokes.
Oh, yeah.
That dude was, I mean, and it's not that he's not always on, but he was on. Like, interception, fumble, caused a fumble. He was literally all over the field. And then I think he added 8 tackles and then a pass defended also. So he was just all over the place. And he came through on one of those, and I thought, is he going to get a sack? Is he going to get the trifecta? But no, Kyler Murray threw it right before
Yeah,
he was going to get through. But I do give credit to the defense, though. Like Brandon said, at the end, they were able to blanket them in the last
Yep.
4 or 5
Yep.
times that they touched the football.
Yep.
And that takes, I mean, that's not easy. So for the Chargers to be able to hold him in the back, and J.K. Scott did a good job. He was pinning them deep into their own end zone, and they were trying to have to come out of there, but they couldn't make it out. So
Yep.
a lot of credit goes to the special teams for pinning them back, and then credit to the defense for being able to hold them back there and not letting them go crazy on them. So definitely, yes, there's some negatives, but it really keeps on resonating with me that the defense will give up all these yards, they'll give up all these they'll give up some points, yes. But at the end of the day, it's almost a defense that always keeps them in the game and is able to hold it together. Last week, obviously, they couldn't hold it together against Kansas City at the end of the game. They were able to against San Francisco, but it was just they were able to hold San Francisco to a field goal. And but last week they weren't able to. But that's just the way the cookie crumbles. Sometimes they're able to, sometimes they're not. But I thought the defense was a big part of why the Chargers won today as well.
100%. And like I've said all season, I've taken a lot of flack for this, but that's been like the MO all season, where it's like they'll get 3 and outs, offense won't do anything, they'll get their own 3 and out, and then it's back to them. And then they're running, 2 times the amount of plays the offense is, and then they're obviously getting gassed and everything else. They're getting fatigued. But just real quick, this is the other thing I wanted to bring up. There's still a lot of miscommunication on the offense, it appears, because it's like 2 weeks in a row, you get a sack in crunch time that, puts you, like last week, it was a sack that ended the game essentially because they couldn't do anything after that. This week, luckily, there was enough time on the clock to, I can't remember, I think they punted, got the ball back, and that's when they drove down and won. But, you have got to fix these communication errors on offense, especially being, what week are we in? Week 11, week 12? What are we
12.
in?
But also, you have to also, I mean, obviously, I'm not trying to make an excuse or anything, but it wasn't Corey Linsley in there after he
Totally
got
understand. But totally
and then-
understand, Frau.
and
Totally
then it
understand.
was Foster Sarrell as well on the offensive line.
Totally understand that. But it happened last week also with Corey Linsley in there. And it's like either there's a communication mistake to where we're not where the Chargers aren't telling their backups the same thing, right? Like, you have got to prepare every single person on this roster, like if they're going to end up playing in the game, if that makes sense. Like these type of communication errors are going to cost you games. Last week it did, this week it didn't. And, those are the type of little things you got to clean up if you have any hope of being a playoff team, let alone a championship team.
Let's go now to, let's talk a little bit about the social media quarterback that is Justin Herbert.
Yeah, for real.
35 for 47, 274, 3 touchdowns. He hadn't thrown for 3 touchdowns since week 2 against Kansas City. He did it back-to-back weeks. Week 1 against the Raiders, week 2 against the Chiefs, and then he hadn't done it all season. That's the thing, though. These guys are starting to get healthy. The offense is starting to get healthy.
Yeah.
They're starting to, well, I mean, minus what happened with Corey Linsley, and we'll see on Monday what happens with that. But they're starting to get healthy. They're starting to get some pieces back. Keenan was back today. The offense looked a lot smooth. The offense didn't get into trouble the way they usually do at points. Like, yeah, they did at some points, but I'm saying, like, they had Keenan out there. They were able to do a lot more. It looked a lot smoother than when it was Bandy, Carter, and Joshua Palmer. So they're getting weapons back. When Mike Williams comes back, I think it'll be an even smoother process. I think the offense will be able to move the ball more efficiently. And that's what you saw at the beginning of the Chiefs game last week. When they had Mike in there, the offense was moving smoothly. They were able to do some good things, but it was just as soon as Mike went down, it kind of, they had some issues. They were moving the ball. They weren't. They kind of slowed down. But when you have Keenan and Mike in there, especially with all these guys that Justin has now learned how to throw to, I think this offense is going to be a lot smoother moving forward.
You'd hope, right? You'd hope, because you never know. I think sometimes the problem is, though, is that we're not adjusting to those type of things. The problem is they're losing the third quarter. I think this is the third quarter they've lost, 2 or 3 weeks in a row. They only scored a field goal in the third quarter today, correct?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, a field goal.
It's like,
Arizona,
that's
no. But you're saying they lost the third quarter. They didn't. Arizona didn't score. Arizona didn't score in the third quarter either.
Oh, they didn't score in the third quarter?
No. Or
Okay.
the Chargers scored a field goal. Arizona didn't score anything.
Okay, well, there you go. You can't lose the third quarters because sometimes that's when the game starts to get away from them and they just don't have enough to come back. And it's like we've talked about it all season about the second half adjustments because they'll look great in the first half, once they start getting warm and everything else. But in the second half, they get shut out or they get 7 points or, obviously not enough points to win games. And it's like that's the biggest thing you have got to, and that's the biggest thing you got to do. It's like you got to coach on the fly. You got to be ready to go. You got to be able to make adjustments, especially if your guy's in the booth. Like he's got to be able to see these things and make adjustments. That way you can keep working the defense and taking what they give you.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Justin looked, obviously, he took a lot of hits, unnecessary hits. He took some sacks, 4 sacks. He's been sacked 9 times in the last 2 weeks. That should not be happening. I know that there's moving pieces, but it didn't look good today. He was, and then especially with the one that you said, where Isaiah Simmons comes right up the middle, untouched,
Awesome.
and he goes up and he takes down Justin. The only question I have for him, I guess, in a sense, is like there's times where I wonder, and you said it out loud when we're watching the games, is why he doesn't throw it away. That's kind of always been. I wonder sometimes. I don't know if it's because these guys are trying to make plays happen or what they're trying to do, but they like. I remember Aaron Rodgers. They used to murder Aaron Rodgers for not murder. My bad. They used to criticize Aaron Rodgers a lot for throwing the ball away. I remember that. Aaron Rodgers used to get crapped on all the time. They'd be like, why is he throwing the ball away? He's trying to protect his stats. No, that's not it. He's just trying to, you live to
fight another day. 100%. 100%. Because, this is what you've heard me talk about a lot. And it's those little details in football that separates wins and losses. In the Super Bowl, Patriots, Falcons, if Matt Ryan throws that ball away, there's more time on the clock, but you at least kick a field goal. You're still in field goal range. And it's like that's the thing that's been, almost evolving. You go from the, in the pocket guys who aren't really mobile. They can barely use their legs. Their legs are only used to kind of step up in the pocket. And it's like now you have these more mobile guys, and it's like all of a sudden they think, oh, every play I can hit a home run. It's like I understand you have that capability, but it doesn't work like that in football, pal. Like it's not 1-on-1, it's not 1-on-2 or whatever, or 2-on-2 or whatever you want. Like there's 11 guys on the field, at least 4 or 5 coming at you, and it's like sometimes more depending on what type of pressure they're bringing. And just because you have the ability to run, if you take proper pursuit angles, you're not going to get out of there, and you're just going to screw your team because now instead of starting at 2nd and 10, you're at 2nd and 15, 2nd and 20, and other things like that. And it's like you got to throw the ball away, especially in those 2-minute type drills, because you can't lose yardage in 2-minute drills, and you can't run the clock out for a 1-yard gain.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Obviously, at the end of the game, let me go back over here where that final drive. Excuse me. 1st and 10, you go to Gerald Everett for 10 yards. And I was telling Dan during the game, and I know people are gonna criticize this little thing that I noticed, but I was telling Dan, look at the chart. Like you can tell they're disciplined, and they've shown and they know exactly what to do when they're in the 2-minute. As soon as the Chargers were going down, the receivers, they jump up. Oh, let's go to Justin Herbert real quick. He is going to the podium. Let's see what he has to say after the Chargers victory.
Yeah, we just believed in each other, and that's one of those plays that we've repped a ton over the past couple of years, and we feel comfortable with the guys out there. Gerald ran a great route, made a great catch, and it's good to see from those guys.
Gerald said that you guys gave each other like a look before that play. What is the look?
I would say it's just trust, belief in each other, and that he's a competitor and he's going to do everything he can to go score, and ran a great route, and we just knew he was going to be open, and he did a great job on that play.
The offense obviously had kind of been held in check a little bit earlier in the second half, but what changed on that final drive that it seemed like you guys really moved the ball well?
Yeah, we just had to adjust to what they were doing. They showed some things that they hadn't shown all year, and so we had to get adjusted to that. It took some time on the sideline getting together, just talking about the game plan, what we're going to do differently. Defense came up with some big stops to get us the ball back, had our opportunities to go down and score, but super thankful for the defense for stepping up.
What does it say about your head coach that you decided to go move in rather than make 2 point play for overtime?
Yeah, I think all the guys on offense wanted to be out there for that play. We knew that we had a good play, the right guys on the field, and the offensive line did a great job protecting me all day, gave me enough time to get the ball off, and Gerald made a nice catch on the play.
Brandon mentioned that he said in the locker room that you're not going to be able to execute every single 2-minute drive as a quarterback. Obviously, the last 2 games hasn't gone down for you. Just how satisfying is it to get one of these, the game-winning drives, score the touchdown, get the win? Yeah,
just keep swinging. We've dealt with a bunch of adversity this year, and we haven't flinched. And I wish it went different the past 2 weeks. The defense did a great job of getting us the ball and stopping them and letting us go down and score. The offense didn't come through, and for us to be able to get that opportunity today and figure it out for our defense, we've got so much respect for that side of the ball that we just want to hold our own.
How big of a challenge did their blitzing pose for you guys in the game, just in terms of trying to kind of block those?
Yeah. That's definitely a good question. They do such a great job of bringing different blitzes, making them disguised and looking like another one. So, they did a great job of that. And that's something that we're going to have to watch on film, keep looking at, keep doing, everything we can in terms of protection, flipping protections, things like that. But, they got after it today.
What do you think it says about your group that, after not picking up some blitzes over the course of the game, that on that 2nd and 12 there, they brought the house from 0 blitz, and you guys were able to pick that up and convert there? What do you think it's about your group to adjust to that?
Yeah, I think it's resilient. Kind of like I mentioned earlier, they brought some things that they hadn't shown all year, and so we had to be ready for that, and we had to talk about it on the sideline. And there were a couple blitzes that maybe we didn't pick up as well, things that I could have changed. But stick with it. We go down to center. Will Clapp steps in and does a great job analyzing the mic, and we've got a lot of respect for that guy. So it was great to see from him as well.
So there you have it, a little bit from Justin Herbert. Obviously the offense did want to stay out there. Like you mentioned, you could totally tell they started looking at the sideline, and it's funny because there's numerous times, Dan, I think I've noticed it more when I watch TV than when I'm at the games. Is there's a lot of times where they're on 4th down and Justin looks over at Brandon like, hey, let's do it, and Brandon's like, no, come on, and they send the punt team in, and he kind of almost looks he looks a little disappointed, but obviously Justin's never going to say that. But I mean, I thought it was there were some good plays called at the end on that final drive. And I thought the touchdown to Austin Eckler, great. And they finished it off. The Gerald Everett was everybody releases, and then Everett was the final one. Like Everett faked I think he kind of faked like he was going to block and then took off the last.
Yeah.
And he let everybody else go first, and that kind of freed him up to just walk into the end zone.
100%. And you go back to, the play calling and final drive, 100%. There have been brilliant moments, to give him his credit where credit's due, from Joe Lombardi. The problem has always been his consistency, though. It's like you saw me get pretty, animated when the Chargers were in the red zone. It's like 3rd and 7. It wasn't even 3rd and goal. Or no, sorry. It was like they were from like the 10 or somewhere, right? And they literally go 1, 2, 3, 3 shots into the end zone like it's the end of the half or the end of the game. It's like, why are you taking shots? Why are you taking shots when you have 3 downs to get a 1st down and it's not even a goal? Like you're not, it's not 1st and goal or 2nd and goal or whatever. Like that I understand. But it's like you still have space to get a 1st down, and then you have a new set of plays that you can run from like the 2 or the 3 or whatever you want. And it's like those little things are just, I think is what's always cost them games in the end. And, that's the biggest thing they have to work on. You've got to get together and say, okay, what are we doing differently in the second half that we aren't doing in the first? And self-scout a little bit to see how you can improve.
Yeah, no, definitely. I completely agree. Obviously, like I said, it was a great win for them. I mean, you just need to see the ball go through. You need to see the ball. It was ugly. It was ugly. Yeah. There was some instances where, I mean, I'm sure Brandon wanted to pull his hair out and stuff, but a win's a win in a sense. And now moving forward, I mean, now you just kind of keep on gaining those. You can't take any more steps back. It has to be steps going forward.
Exactly.
And I know that Lindsey Theory asked Brandon about the playoffs, and he said, no, we're focused on one. We're taking it 1 week at a time. Yeah, but you have to also be looking up and saying, hey, look, dang, like the Patriots keep on winning. So do the
Jets.
So do the Jets.
Buffalo.
Like, yeah, so it's getting it is going to get a little tight at some point, and the Chargers are going to need to win some of these crucial games, especially because like next week, or like the Patriots are
Raiders.
going to play the Bills. Other
Yeah.
teams are going to be playing. They're going to play in division. That division's tough. You're going to need some drop off, and you're going to need some things to happen for you if you're the Chargers. But we'll see what happens with that. I'm honestly of the opinion of if you're going to criticize the head coach, and if it's valid, okay. But you also have to give them their flowers when they're doing today. Brandon Staley deserves for the cojones for going for it and going for the 2-point conversion. He deserves a lot of credit. I mean, how many coaches don't we know that would have just gone for the field goal, trying to go into overtime, maybe possibly losing overtime, and then everybody would be like, oh, you should have gone for 2. Well, Brandon decided to go for 2. They won the game. I thought the coaches actually did a really good job at the end of the game. I thought the defense did well. The offense sputtered, but they ended up scoring points at the end of the game. So yes, there is there still problems with the offense? Yes, there is.
A lot.
I think well, no, there's problems with both sides of the football.
100%.
But I think my stat was that the Chargers had been outscored
29 to
29 to 7 in the second half.
There you go.
Okay, today they 30, 29, 36 and 11. So, okay, 36 and 20 now when in the last 3 games they've been outscored 36 to 20 in the fourth quarter. So today they won it. They won 11 to 7 in the second half. They beat Arizona 11 to 7. But still, they need to do better on offense, especially with all the pieces that they have on offense, and some of these guys, they should be able to move the ball a little bit more. But like we said, victory for the Chargers, now 6-5. This week obviously is Raider week. We'll try and see who we come up with to talk a little Raider football with us, especially after their big victory in Seattle. It's going to be a tough divisional game, to say the least. I mean, it's going to be close. I'm sure the Raiders are going to try and deploy Devontae Adams the way they did in week 1. Try and throw to him, try and go to him multiple times. I'm sure they're going to try and use Josh Jacobs in numerous ways to really tire out the Chargers defense. We'll see what they try and do. Dan, who was your player of the game today?
Player of the game today. Let's see.
Who are you sharing a cold one with?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of who I would share. Why don't you go first, and then I'll think of one right now.
And now go Chargers!
This guy doing that. The obvious one is Justin Herbert. Didn't panic, stayed poised, But I was trying to think of one not so obvious. But I mean, I'll just go with Justin Herbert because I'm drawing a blank right now. Oh, you know what? Actually, I'll go with DeAndre Carter. He stepped up very big today. Got about 70 yards, and in crucial times, he was always coming up clutch in crucial times. So DeAndre Carter, here's a cold one for you, bud.
On Wednesday, when I walk by Justin Herbert's locker, I'm going to be like, hey, I just wanted to let you know that I gave Dan and Daygo the option of having a beer with you.
Oh,
and he said, no, I'm going to go with DeAndre Carter.
Shut up. The son of Odin knows there's nothing but love there. But I mean, I don't want to be lame like half of these stooges. Oh, my God. I don't want to be lame like half of these stooges and just pick obvious the quarterback.
No, I feel you. I'm going to go Derwin James. I think Derwin had I don't know. It's obviously an obvious one, but he had a pick. He had a forced fumble.
Yeah.
And he had, I think, 8 tackles. So he had a pretty big game today as well. So I definitely, I'll go with Derwin on this one. I thought he had a big game. Folks, obviously, we appreciate you guys listening to us. Again, we would do this longer, but I don't know how long my voice is going to hold up.
Gotta rest your voice, guy.
Exactly, because we have a big week. Why do we have a big week? Let me explain it to you. Guys, don't forget to check out COMPAS on the Beat. We still do our regular COMPAS show.
What?
We talk about everything in the NFL, break it all down, see what's going on. We throw in some pop culture as well, like the holiday season's coming up. What is our favorite? What are some of our favorite holiday movies? I have a lot that on December 1st I will be starting, and I watch them multiple times. So I wait for this because it's all my holiday movies come out. No, I'm not going to choose just one. I choose multiple because every movie has a special place in my heart. So I'm definitely all about it. Don't forget to check out regular COMPAS. Don't forget to check out Combat COMPAS. This week, Gilbert and I will be breaking down War Games, Survivor Series War Games, very good pay-per-view. I was very impressed. And I heard a rumor about a potential WrestleMania 39 match that I was on the fence about it before, but I may be leaning towards let's do it. Let's go all in. Why not? So we'll do some more of Comeback Combas this week. Guys, also don't forget to check out House of Horns. I know the Rams aren't doing too well. They lost today to the Kansas City Chiefs. They actually kept it pretty close, in my opinion. But obviously that's just the Rams have a good defense. So obviously they were able to kind of slow down Patrick Mahomes a little bit. The offense just wasn't able to keep up. Obviously with the injuries to Allen Robinson, Cooper Kupp, and Matthew Stafford, I mean, who wouldn't be able to who wouldn't have a slow down defense or offense? But guys, check out what Gilbert's doing over there and Vic the producer, see what they have on House of Horns. And then obviously we have our new show, COMPAS FC. Don't forget to check it out. We will be doing an episode recapping the US and Mexico's games. We'll be doing some other games as well, and then looking forward to the US versus Iran and Mexico versus Saudi Arabia and what that means, and could they advance? We'll see. We'll let you guys know. And there goes my voice. It's starting to leave. So we appreciate it so much. That cowboy hat wearing.
He ran out, and your voice is starting to go too, dude.
I know. That's why I'm trying to get out of here. Yeah. That's Dan and Daygo. I'm Fernando Ramirez. We appreciate you guys. Please be a compa, tell a compa, like, subscribe. Go tell us what you guys like about the show. If you guys have any questions, we'll answer them on the show. We appreciate you guys so much. Have a great rest of your, a great beginning to your week. Thank you guys again.